Hello, I'm Sand Recap, and this film is titled, No One Will Save You. There's no savior for you, a solitary young woman, when you're compelled to protect your dwelling from an invasion by large-headed extraterrestrials. The movie commences within a dwelling nestled on the fringes of a forest where Brinn resides. Right from the early hours, she grapples with the dilemma of selecting the right outfit to wear. After reaching a decision, she descends to the lower floor, where, alongside a town diorama, there's also a tailoring workshop. Upon completing her sewing, Brinn meticulously packages the dress and ventures outside. She takes note of the flawlessly shaped grass, which she waters with a hose. Subsequently, she drives into town, making a brief stop to exchange waves with a neighbor. However, upon his sighting of her, he averts his gaze and retreats indoors, depositing her parcels in the mailbox. Brinn visits her mother's grave, nearing her car. On the opposite side of the street, she catches sight of Sheriff Collins and his spouse enjoying a leisurely walk, prompting her to conceal herself to evade their notice. Upon her return home, Brinn unwinds by the lakeside and composes a letter to her closest friend. When she spots an approaching postal truck, the courier, in a manner reminiscent of Ace Ventura, carelessly hurls the package to the ground, displaying indifference towards its contents. Brinn retrieves the package, containing another structure for her diorama. The remainder of her day is occupied by routine tasks like preparing dinner, rehearsing a dance, and penning a letter to her friend. Subsequently, Brinn retires to bed. During the late hours of the night, an enigmatic and baffling presence advances toward her residence. Suddenly, all the light bulbs illuminate and then extinguish, but the ensuing commotion rouses Brinn from her slumber. She observes an overturned garbage bin outside and resolves to step out to rectify it. However, as she approaches the staircase, she makes an unsettling discovery. The front door stands partially ajar, and an individual is situated on the ground floor. Brinn discerns silhouettes and hears footsteps. She stealthily retraces her steps, but an ominous creak from the floorboard gives her away, and an unwelcome guest approaches. Terrifyingly, she witnesses the source of the noise ascending the stairs, compelling her to seek refuge in the bedroom and await events. When the enigmatic intruders fail to locate Brinn, an extraterrestrial entity emits an incomprehensible sound and, reminiscent of Carlson, abruptly exits through the window onto the roof, causing Brinn to startle. She descends to the living area to secure the door, but she detects footsteps on the roof. Subsequently, electrical appliances reactivate, including the radio and television. Brinn unplugs them in an attempt to quell the cacophony. She then endeavors to summon assistance but encounters strange noises on the phone line. The refrigerator door swings open, seemingly inviting the intruders into the house. Brinn yearns to retreat to her bedroom, yet Alon is already descending the stairs, compelling her to seek concealment in a corner near the refrigerator. The alien explores the kitchen, making contact with the telephone still dangling from its cord. Suddenly, the refrigerator door swings wide open. Brinn glimpses the stranger's feet and then Alon with elongated fingers peers out from the doorway in terror. Brinn forcefully kicks the door and, pushing herself away, employs telekinesis to topple the diorama table. An imperceptible force suspends Brinn in midair, and inadvertently, she impales the alien with a fragment of the diorama. An intriguing realization dawns upon her. The alien descends lifelessly, and its victim retreats against the wall. Brinn sits in shock until daybreak. Once she regains her composure, she inspects the intruder's body to ensure there's no revival. Convinced that no miracle has occurred, Brinn drapes it with a piece of fabric. She then endeavors to contact the town again, but still, there's no signal. The entire house is completely bereft of power. At least there's running water. After fruitlessly inspecting the fuse box, Brinn heads to her car, only to discover that the battery, like all other sources of electricity, has vanished, as if the gray-haired man had waved it away with a gesture. Brinn proceeds with her utmost priority task, restoring order to her now invaded home. She notices a circular patch of faded grass on her neighbor's lawn, much like the one in her own yard. Unbeknownst to her, there are numerous similar figures scattered throughout the city. Brinn decides to visit the police station. As she approaches the entrance, she crosses paths with Sheriff Collins and his wife. Without uttering a word, the woman spits on Brinn's face, and Sheriff Collins silently departs, realizing there's no assistance to be found here. Brinn is left feeling helpless. While wiping off the graffiti, she cries, uncertain about her next steps. Her attention is drawn to a passing bus, and the idea of escaping briefly crosses her mind. She contemplates the possibility of leaving everything behind, buying a ticket, and making a clean break. However, her plans take a different turn when a mustached man boards the bus a few minutes later. She attempts to distance herself from him, but he firmly grasps her shoulder, emitting strange sounds from his throat, possibly due to something alien. In a state of panic, Brinn pushes him away, but she also loses her balance and falls. The man with the mustache starts crawling toward her, and another passenger with a throat parasite follows suit. Chaos ensues on the bus, prompting the driver to slam on the brakes. Brinn seizes the opportunity to escape, while the mustached man nonchalantly pursues her. She eventually reaches a church, but it's locked, leaving her uncertain about what to do next. Brinn decides to head to a nearby cemetery, where she comes across the grave of her childhood friend, bearing the name Collins. Tears stream down her cheek as she reminisces. However, her reflection is abruptly interrupted by strange storm clouds overhead, prompting her to sprint back home. Along the way, she encounters her neighbors, who have become addicted to some form of salt, gazing at the sky with raised hands, each harboring a parasite within. Upon arriving home, Brinn cautiously approaches the doorframe. Suddenly, the lifeless alien reanimates but remains motionless. Brinn notices a trail of slime leading from the alien's mouth, disappearing into the distance. Something had emerged from it, and she follows the trail towards a cluster of flowering bushes, without considering the potential dangers lurking within. Recalling the peculiar clouds, Brinn prepares for the night by securing window shutters, sealing doorways, lighting candles, and heating water on a gas stove. However, her cunning plan goes awry when the nails start to work their way back into place, courtesy of the alien's telekinetic abilities. A beam of light targets the diorama, flipping over the couch, lifting the lifeless alien's body, and dragging it outside, while Brinn hides. Once the gravitational beam deactivates, Brinn rushes to the basement stairs before another alien materializes. However, the alien flashlights attempt to locate her. Brinn navigates her way to the basement, with another alien trailing her. She seeks refuge under a table, but when a mannequin falls, she turns around to find the alien adopting a gangster-like pose, boldly demanding that she use her telekinesis to relinquish the scissors she's holding in a childhood photo. While the alien inspects the photo, Brinn makes a daring move, etching her name in history as the first person to bite an alien, and she escapes, making her way to the first floor. Another alien, smaller yet more menacing, confronts her, but Brinn bravely engages in a confrontation, securing her place in the annals of history. After biting the alien, Brinn lures it into a trap in the kitchen, hurling buckets of hot water when shadows are absent. Despite her efforts, the alien persists, forcing her to defend herself. At one point, Brinn nearly falls into a gravitational beam, but only the bucket sticks to it, failing to pull her in. The alien stealthily approaches from behind, compelling her to retreat and lock herself in the bathroom. Nevertheless, the alien breaches the door with a miniature explosive. As Brinn lifts the toilet lid, she discovers the alien standing behind her, striking a pose reminiscent of a Star Trek character, rudely demanding that she use her telekinesis to hand over the scissors and then the childhood friend's photo. While the alien scrutinizes the photo, Brinn seizes the opportunity to escape through the bathroom window. In the pitch-black night, she continues to be under surveillance, this time by an enormous figure towering as tall as a building, moving with segmented limbs resembling those of a spider. Brinn yearns to break free but stumbles upon the mustached man from the bus. Above, a colossal flying saucer materializes in the sky, engaging in a semaphore-like communication with something inside the cockpit. Brinn scratches the man's hand and propels him directly into the gravitational beam. The mustached man ascends briefly, yet upon realizing he's not the intended target, they retrieve him and deactivate the beam. The spacecraft departs, and Brinn makes her escape, while the spider-like creature pursues her. However, due to its size, it becomes ensnared in laundry lines and electrical wires. Brinn believes she has successfully eluded the creature when suddenly, it reappears on the house's rooftop. It lets out a deafening roar into the night, prompting a response from an unseen entity in the darkness. Following this, Alon descends, albeit awkwardly. In the climactic moment, the monstrous being lunges at Brinn, compelling her to flee through the car's cabin. The alien attempts to follow but becomes stuck, with its leg piercing the car's underbelly alongside the gas tank. Brinn reaches for a lighter and ignites the gasoline. She barely manages to step away as the car erupts in flames in the night, causing irreparable destruction. The trapped alien remains behind as Brinn escapes, while the spider creature follows her but becomes entangled in clotheslines and electrical wires. Brinn assumes she's finally shaken it off, but to her surprise, the alien suddenly re-emerges on the rooftop of the house. It unleashes a thunderous roar into the night, eliciting a response from an enigmatic presence in the obscurity. She manages to savor her triumph for a fleeting moment, relishing in the sense of victory that washes over her. However, the elation is short-lived as a sudden, brilliant beam of light materializes from the heavens, relentlessly tracking her and compelling her to seek refuge in a nearby house. Brinn, spurred by adrenaline, swiftly ascends to the attic, pursued by yet another enigmatic alien presence. Abruptly, Brinn finds herself back in her own familiar surroundings, her prone form sprawled upon the very asphalt from which she had been abducted. Gazing upward, she beholds a kaleidoscope of colorful lights that adorn the night sky, a sight that fills her with an inexplicable sense of contentment, and a faint smile graces her lips. Sometime later, Brinn, now in disguise, leisurely pedals her bicycle through the town's familiar streets. Along the way, she waves amicably at her neighbors, who respond in eerie synchrony, their greetings punctuated by the gurgling sounds emanating from the parasites within them. As evening descends upon Central Square, Brinn loses herself in a dance with steel-clad companions, swaying in rhythm as if nothing extraordinary had ever occurred. The jubilant atmosphere envelops the townsfolk, their movements strangely synchronized, their smiles almost unnaturally perfect. The camera gradually zooms out, soaring higher and higher, until it finally breaches the earthly realm, ascending into the radiant embrace of sunlight. In the vast expanse of the sky, the spaceships of the aliens glide serenely, casting an enigmatic aura. The film draws to a close on this enigmatic and surreal note.